New developments tonight in the death of Lauren Smith Fields. An attorney representing her family says they're questioning a medical examiner's ruling that her death was accidental. Connecticut officials announced on Monday Smith Fields died of, quote, acute intoxication. The cause, a lethal combination of fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol. But her family's attorney says Lauren did not use drugs, and they believe foul play was involved. Joining me tonight is the very attorney we just mentioned. Darnell Crosland is representing Lauren Smith Fields' family. Mr. Crosland, we appreciate you making the time. You said that the family suspects foul play. Based on what? Are they saying the man drugged her?
Well, the family's been saying from day one that we should not have to speculate as to what happened. Typically, if a man and a woman are together and one of them is reported dead by the other, the person making that report is immediately a person of interest and a suspect in the matter. In this particular case, 23-year-old black healthy woman who allegedly met this man on Bumble was reported dead by the man, who was an older white gentleman. With that being said, the police took a statement from this gentleman and they let him go. They didn't do any investigation. They didn't do anything to corroborate whether what he said was correct or not. And with that, we find that we're left with more questions than answers.
The family is clearly grieving, and they have questions of their own. One of the questions I would have is that, many families, they don't know everything about a loved one. Tens of millions of Americans, they use illegal drugs. They usually don't advertise it. Do they believe it's possible that they just didn't know that she was taking drugs?
Absolutely not. We wish that was the case, but it's not. Miss Lauren Smith Fields and her mother are extremely, extremely close. She's very, very close with her brothers, and everything that she did with the family. She traveled with the family. She spent time in the morning, every single morning at LA Fitness Gym with her mother. If you look at both of them, they're beautiful women, and they were just like sisters. And so if somebody was using drugs, the person would know that. Now, a lot of the experts over the last day or two have examined the substances that were found in her body. And it was fentanyl, promethazine, and a couple others. Aside from the fentanyl, the other drugs were used as commonly used date rape drugs. The experts, which have discussed this matter on national television as late as yesterday, has said that the combination of those drugs are what they call a cocktail, and that sometimes people put those together and may have put too much in someone's drink, which causes reaction.
Okay. Police have delivered toxicology results which, took more than a month. The state Senate's considering a law requiring police to notify families of death within 24 hours. An internal investigation seems likely in the city. A criminal investigation's underway. You are suing the city or planning to. Do you have evidence you'll be presenting that, it seems like the chief of police, the mayor, everyone says this was bungled, it was not handled correctly. But do you have evidence you'll present that it was race-based or differential treatment?
Yeah, so typically when you present a race-based or preferential treatment case, you look for disparities. And so when you look for disparities, it's like buying a house in a neighborhood. You want to see what the value is, look for the comps. You see what the other house sold for. It's not your house, but you just see what it's sold for. In this particular case, the Gabby Petitos of the world get all the attention if they're white and they're dead. And then you have black women like Lauren Smith Fields who get nothing.
But that's not in Bridgeport. I mean locally.
It doesn't have to be in Bridgeport. It doesn't have to be in Bridgeport. It has to be in the United States.
Uh-huh.
And if you're arguing it has to be in Bridgeport, then that's your argument. It has to be in the United States.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I
So,
didn't understand it. Could you explain that for myself and for our viewers, that I didn't realize that was the precedence or the bar that had to be met. So let's take Gabby Petito. She was a young white woman. It went viral. Everybody was talking about it. The police were on it, went to great lengths. She was from a different area, different jurisdiction, that if that was treated differently than, let's say, Lauren's case, that would be entered as evidence of a violation of the 14th Amendment?
Absolutely, because the 14th Amendment is the United States Constitution Amendment, and we know that, as you stated, if this case goes up to the Supreme Court looks at cases across the country. The Miranda rights is not a case from Connecticut, but we have to follow the Miranda rights when you're pulled over and you're stopped. That's not a Connecticut case. is an Arizona case. So the Supreme Court will look at the way its citizens in this country are treated across the country. And if there's a disparity in treatment, they don't just look at it to Bridgeport. It could be Ferguson, Missouri, where Mike Brown was gunned down and killed. You're asking me, how do I feel? As a black man, I'm telling you right now that I'm not going to look just in the four corners of Bridgeport. Systemic racism is from the top down. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. And I'm not here to litigate this case on this quick phone call that you've made to me. So if that's what we're doing, we're not going to be doing that. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that in this country, black women's lives are disregarded. In this country, black women go disappear at an alarming number every single year with no regard. And that's what we're seeing in the Lawrence Smith Fields case in Bridgeport.
Darnell Crosland, we appreciate your time. I know you're awfully busy right now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.